Morning guys, apologies for the video being quite dark this morning, but then I'm on my way to work. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, some of you might think it's better, at least you don't have to look at my ugly mug even if you haven't listened to what I've got to say. So, last night the news filters through that Tottenham Hotspur have sacked Mauricio Pochettino and his team, thanking him for all his hard work, for what he's done for the club, and they'll always be welcome, blah de blah. And so initially I think I was quite shocked, although I don't know why I was shocked, to be honest with you, because I guess we could see it coming, if the truth be told. On some kind of level, there were lots of fans calling for his departure anyway. So those guys are going to be very happy today. I know there was a few comments on Twitter that I saw from those that had been advocating him leaving, that were quite restrained, I would say. Certainly the ones I saw, they were quite pragmatic in that, you know, they accepted what he's done for the club, but it's a results-based business, and we want trophies and we want better from our team. So I get it. You know, I think there's two schools of thought for me. Anyway, I'm kind of stuck really, because I'm not sure how I really feel at this moment in time. I do try, as I said previously, I do try not to do reactionary videos. So I try to give myself a little bit of time to think about it and to calm down and to try to let myself gather my thoughts as to what it actually means, and what I really think. But obviously this is still quite a reactionary video because we only found out last night of his departure. So my initial thoughts at the time, and my phone was going absolutely mental. I'm in a few WhatsApp groups with different people, and there was lots and lots of debate, some really good debate, and some quite funny comments and stuff like that. One guy, Kev, he wrote on one WhatsApp group, even when Tottenham ain't playing, they can manage to ruin your weekend. And it's like, yeah, it's so true. We haven't had a game. We were pissed off last weekend because of the result. We've been pissed off in previous weekends because of the result. And now we've not got a game, but Tottenham can still put out some news that's really going to mess up your weekend. And it's not necessarily because Pochettino's left. It's the fact of the timing of it. Is it the best time? Is it a great time? And again, I guess there's a couple of schools of thought about that, because obviously whoever comes in now presumably will have the January window to spend some money and to get some players in. So maybe that's why it's done now, for the best. Not sure why they wouldn't have done that at the beginning of the week rather than waiting till Tuesday with a game against a London rival like West Ham. So yeah, there was some quite interesting comments and some quite interesting debate about it. So for the record, I don't think it's a great decision losing Pochettino. I still rate him highly. I still think that the problem lies further up the chain maybe, and that we will ultimately see Pochettino lifting trophies for another team, whether that be in England or whether that be somewhere else. And there are already fan channels at Man United calling for Pochettino to go there, and with the financial backing that Man United could throw at it, who knows what that's going to end up looking like. So I do, to a certain extent, think be careful what you wish for, But at the same time, over the last few weeks, certainly the last 2 weeks, I have been on a couple of channels and questioned Poch and his handling of things, and I have said that maybe we will see in the last days of him, because it may be coming to kind of a natural conclusion. So we're not privy to what goes on behind the scenes. So whilst Daniel Levy and the board have said, yeah, we're letting Pochettino go, we don't know what kind of conversations they're having. We don't know how Pochettino himself feels about the scenario, because to be fair, he hasn't seemed right. His lack of animation on the side of the pitch, his lack of a cohesive comments on his pre and post match interviews, his blind support for certain players, has all kind of brought his, I don't know, his ability, his interest in Tottenham to the forefront, you know, and even loyal supporters to him are questioning and have been questioning, where's his head at? Is he still fully committed to his project of delivering a club that the supporters can feel proud of? So, you know, I can't sit here and say I was fully behind Pochettino and felt that he could do no wrong or anything like that. I didn't feel that. I felt that a certain amount of blame will lie at his feet because of some of the decisions he makes. And we can debate those all day as to why he did that. And I don't think we'll ever really know. But as I implied earlier, I personally think that the blame or a lot of the issues will lie further up the chain than just with Pochettino. So it may be that he's been having the conversations with Daniel Levy and he's said to him, you know, I feel like we've gone as far as we can go. You've either got to back me or sack me, or, you know, I need you to spend 100 million quid or whatever. And Levy said, sorry mate, that's not in our plan, that's not in our ethos, you know, we've got our way of doing it, and you've got to work within it. You've been here 5 years or so and you know what we're all about. So you know, it's a difficult one because we don't know all the facts. But the idea from Daniel Levy that he's doing this in all the best interests of Tottenham, got to say I'm not really convinced, because as I said, I can see Pochettino walking into a Bayern Munich, a Real Madrid, a Man United, one of those clubs with huge spending power, and delivering some trophies, especially in Germany, where the league is a lot tighter and a lot not tighter. What am I talking about? A lot easier to win, in my opinion. Bayern Munich win it most of the time. So, you know, anyway. So I'm still a bit gutted. I'm still disappointed that it's not going to be Pochettino to turn it around. And I've got to say, I think if you're a Tottenham player waking up this morning and seeing that news that your manager has gone, I think you need to take a good hard look at yourself and question whether you actually did put in everything you should have put in for that manager and for the team over the last, you know, year or so. And have a good look at yourself, because, you know, Danny Rose, for as much as some Danny Rose has taken a lot of stick recently, and I haven't said anything about Danny Rose, to be fair, but for all the time that Danny Rose has taken stick over his comments about seeing out his contract and all the rest of it, the one thing that didn't really get that well reported was his comments about how great his relationship was with Pochettino and how supportive Pochettino has been of him. And it kind of made me feel a little bit more steady and supportive of Pochettino, because I thought, well, if Danny Rose is one of these players that's going through this really bad spell, but he's still having those conversations with him, they're still talking about how we can improve, they're still going through the difficulties that Danny's going through, then that says to me that's still a manager who's interested and who's trying to get the best out of his players, recognising that not all of them are firing on all cylinders. So it kind of made me feel a little bit better about the situation, and then boom, they dismiss him. So I don't know, I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but I'm trying to gather my thoughts and trying to make some kind of sense of it in my own head as to where we go now. So at the end of the day, we can't change it. All you can do is thank Pochettino for the memories that we've had, and to be fair, it's not just about, I mean, people are pointing to his record over the last year, right? But it's not just about the last year, is it? You know, it's about his tenure at the club. It's about, you know, the time that he's spent with us and what he did for the club. And a lot of people will say, well, he didn't win nothing, so what did he do? Well, if you consider where we were prior to him coming in, with football from the likes of ABB and Tim Sherwood. I mean, let's not forget that Tim Sherwood was our manager. Okay, and okay, you might absolutely rate Tim Sherwood, but I tell you this, I don't rate Tim Sherwood at all. And if he's that good, why has he been out of work ever since, right? But he took Tim Sherwood's team and took that club as it was and where we were, and he got us to consistent top 4 finishes. Now, going all the way back to when I first started doing videos, one of the things I said was, a top 4 finish isn't what I want as a fan. What I want is trophies. I want to win trophies, because that's how you measure the success of a team. The problem is, that's how fans measure a team's credibility or level or whatever. It's not how club owners or World Football or Sky or all these people measure football club success. Getting top 4 is where that gets measured. So I am a stalker of other clubs' fan channels, because I find it quite interesting to listen to how other people are feeling about their clubs. And to be fair, Arsenal Football TV is comedy gold most of the time, right? Especially when they lose. So when you listen to those guys talking, and whatever we think of them as people, they are fans of their club. They support their team. But for them, at this moment in time, they're not even talking about winning anything. They're not even talking about winning a league or winning a cup or anything like that. They're talking about consistent top 4. They want consistent top 4, because they know that's where you become and get measured as an elite club. So for all you people that are saying Pochettino didn't take us anywhere, I think you need to think again, because in this modern age, in this modern football game, that's a considered success. And as I say, for me as a fan, that's not what I'm considering as a success. You know, I want to see silverware. So I'm as gutted as the next person that Pochettino didn't get us any silverware, you know, that's what I was looking for. You know, those happy days out and all the rest of it. So, you know, I do get it. I do get it. And it is a difficult one. It is a difficult one to answer, right? Because we want one thing, owners and all that want something different. They want financial income. They want, you know, everything that sort of top four Champions League stuff brings us, you know. And a lot of fans turn their nose up at Europa League, right? Bear in mind what I just said about wanting to win trophies. Surely we should have a better opportunity to win a Europa League than we have winning a Champions League at this moment in time. I know we got to the final last season, but how many of us actually see that coming, and how many of us actually saw us winning it? You know, so will we reach the Champions League final this season? I don't know. You know, I don't think any fans are actually banking on it. But if you said you're in the Europa League, I would fancy us to be in the final consistently with the squad that we've got now. With the squad that we had previously in the Europa League, maybe not. But we did have opportunities. But, you know, again, I suppose you can point the finger at Pochettino and say, well, you had those opportunities to win those and you didn't. So therefore you fall by your performances, by your results. So yeah, I'm like I say, rambling in the dark on my way to Reading. So I am still a little bit disappointed. I am still feeling a bit shocked about it, although I really understand it. And I guess one of the reasons why I'm gutted about it isn't all just about the fact that we've lost Pochettino. I guess there's an element of me that is disappointed and gutted about it, because now I'm thinking, what next? Who next? Because that's the big question about where's the club going now? What's Daniel Levy and Enix's plan? What is their actual philosophy? Because I have to say, right, say we go out and we bring in a manager and we give them a big open checkbook to go and get some marquee players, some, you know, exactly what we're looking for. Say in this January transfer window, the likes of Christian Eriksen and Serge Aurier leave the club, and we bring in quality players to replace them with a new manager. So the question is, if they're going to do that, why would you not give that to one of the best young managers in the game? Again, you might not agree with me that he's one of the best young managers in the game, but you know, the reality is that's how he's considered, right? So you're dismissing this manager, but then you've got a new manager coming in who you give a load of money to invest into a squad that you know needed rebuilding in the first place. So that's my first question. So the fact that they've sacked Pochettino kind of worries me a bit, in that, are they going to continue with a rebuild? Are they actually going to bring anybody in? Because, like I say, if you were going to do that, why wouldn't you give it to him? So, okay, and there is probably lots going on behind the scenes that clearly we won't know about, and that's why they may make that decision, right? But in my mind, all these things are going around, and I'm thinking to myself, well, that says to me they ain't going to do that. That says to me that they're heading for another 5-year project, another 5 years of slow rebuild, youth players, steadying the ship, trying to get the best out of aging players and so on and so forth. That's what it says to me. Now I might be totally wrong. They might go, no, here you go, here's 100 million quid, we're going to spend, and we're going to start bringing in some really top players. Why they would do that, like I say, don't know. We're not party to those conversations with Pochettino, who, by the way, might have said to him, Daniel, doesn't matter how much money you give me, there's, I don't think I can take this squad any further. Maybe. I just doubt it, but maybe. So now it's a case of who's coming in, who is actually going to come in, because you can't believe that they would dismiss a manager so close to to the game going ahead at the weekend without a plan. You'd kind of hope that they've got something up their sleeve to replace him at this stage, so that we have some kind of bump for the next couple of games. So most people are putting their money on Jose Mourinho, and I'm going to put it out there right from the start, and I'm happy to be proved wrong, but I personally do not like Jose Mourinho as a manager. As a personality in football, I think Jose Mourinho is brilliant. When he's managing somebody else's club, he's comedy gold. He's great to listen to. But for me, I just find the guy so divisive. I feel like the clubs that he's been at, when he leaves them in a worse state than when he started. But as has been pointed out to me continuously, he's a winner. He's a serial winner. What is it, 27 trophies that he's won in the last 10 years or something? Okay, so maybe he will give me what I want. Maybe he will give me some days out with a trophy at the end of it. Okay, great. That's what I want. But that doesn't stop me being concerned about where is that going to leave my club at the end of his tenure. Because if you look at Man United and the struggles they've had with the money that they spent, and they spent fortunes, and it was pointed out to me that he won things with a crap squad. Yeah, there was some crap players in that squad, or some less quality players, let's put it that way, because I don't think they're actually crap. I mean, to play at the highest level in the Premier League, you can't be crap, right? You can't be absolute rubbish. You've got to have a certain level of ability, and to be at Manchester United, as much as it pains me to say it, you've got to have a level of ability there as well, because otherwise they wouldn't buy you. So yeah, he did have some bang average players, or some players that weren't as in the mould that you would expect from a Man United, for instance. But he spent an awful lot of money to get a lot of these players. But he also had some decent players there as well. He didn't have all crap. He had some decent players there, and if you've got a decent spine of the team, you can take some of the average players and make them better and make them achieve more. And the evidence for that, to a certain extent, is Pochettino, because before Pochettino came, players like Harry Kane, Danny Rose, Harry Winks, Kyle Walker, they were not considered the answer to whatever the question might be. So Mourinho must have a level of coaching ability, managerial talent to be able to take some of those average players somewhere better. I would question whether he's able to do that on a shoestring without spending loads of money. And again, it's been pointed out, Porto didn't have loads of money, they won the Champions League. Okay. Chelsea didn't play crap football under Jose Mourinho. Are you sure about that? Was they a really exciting team then? Was this at the same time that Harry Redknapp was being lauded as the next England manager because of his attacking prowess and because of the free-flowing, exciting football that Tottenham were playing? Because I don't remember him talking about Chelsea in that way. But then maybe that's just my memory of it, you know. Like I said before, it's all about opinions, right? So, you know, I'm not a fan of Jose Mourinho. I'm not going to change my mind over that. But I will accept that he is a winner, and I will accept that in games where Pochettino got us to a final or got us to a semi-final or whatever, the likelihood is that Mourinho would have probably gone on and won it. So we would have had a few trophies in the bank. But, you know, it's, for me, whilst I want those days, I'm concerned about my club and the future of my club. I certainly cannot see Mourinho and Levy having a great relationship. I cannot see them two working well together at all. Can't see Levy giving him the money that he wants. But what I can see is Mourinho standing on TV after a game, ripping into a player and smashing his confidence to pieces and telling everybody what a crap squad we've got and what a crap board that we've got and how he's not getting backed and all that, and that becoming a you know, very get your teeth in, Lee, divisive situation. But like I say, I'm happy to be proved wrong. I'll accept whatever the club do. If they've decided that it's going to be Mourinho, then I will support Mourinho as the manager. But, you know, I'm not excited about that kind of appointment. So the other school of thought is it's going to be someone like Eddie Howe. Now, coming from Paul, I live very, very close to Bournemouth, and I have been over to see Bournemouth in their lower league days. Got a soft spot for them, obviously, hometown club now. And I think Eddie Howe has done fantastic at Bournemouth. Bournemouth are playing some decent level of football. Their passing game's a lot better. They are now Premier League sort of stability. But you know, sometimes a manager is just made for a club, and I just feel that Eddie Howe is made for Bournemouth. And to take him out of Bournemouth, I don't think he's going to work. I don't think it'll happen. And with you bringing in a Eddie Howe, that says to me that there is this lack of investment going to happen. There is this lack of vast improvement straight away. It's going to be long and painful until he can get there. And I'm sure Eddie Howe would do a really good job, right? You know, I'm sure he would put his heart and soul in it, and I'm sure he would start to improve the scenario, because he comes across as a really good manager. But I know that going back, Eddie Howe was at Bournemouth before, was doing really well. He left Bournemouth, went somewhere else. It all went tits up, and so he came back to Bournemouth, and he's been back at Bournemouth ever since. So that's what gives me that kind of view that some managers are just made for a team, and it's going to work. I felt the same with David Moyes when he was at Everton. He was made for Everton at that time. He did such good stuff for them, and that's what created his his legacy of being a top manager. As soon as he went to Man United, it all kind of fell apart, and he got found out, and it just didn't work for him. And I kind of feel that with the Eddie Howe scenario, that may be what happens there. And I wouldn't want that to happen to Eddie Howe, and I certainly wouldn't want it to happen to us, that we bring in an Eddie Howe and he does a season or so, and then we've got to change the manager again. Because for me, if you're not going to spend hundreds of millions of pounds each year building a squad and buying the best players in the world, then the next best thing to get you any level of success is stability. And we have just removed our stability. So prior to Pochettino, we had 17 different managers. I think I've mentioned this before. We had 17 different managers, all trying to get a level of success for us. And to be fair, none of them did. We won 2 League Cups and an FA Cup. So that was success at the time, and people say, you know, that's a level of success. But at the same time, it's not a sustainable success. It's not going on to the next level, because let's face it, even Portsmouth won an FA Cup. And again, people will point back to the fact that the best manager we've had since Keith Birkinshaw had every opportunity to win the FA Cup, to win the League Cup, didn't take those opportunities. And I agree, I'm not saying that everything was rosy in the garden with Pochettino. I'm not saying that he didn't make mistakes. I'm not saying that he couldn't have done better things. But at the same time, I do feel that there is issues further up the chain that may have aided those situations. But hey, maybe next season we can watch the Amazon Prime videos, and it will all come clear. We can watch it and go, oh, so that's why he sacked him, and that's why Christian Eriksen's been playing like a donkey for this season. Oh, that's why Serge Aurier did that tackle, because he was pissed off because blah 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 blah. I don't know. Maybe that's what we're going to get from this Amazon thing, right? And to be fair, I haven't watched the previous one, so I don't even know what it's like. So it might not give us any kind of detail about anything. It might just be a terrible program to watch. I'm sure we'll find out in due course. So I think I've rambled on for long enough, right? And I'm sorry, it's gone on a while. I wasn't really planning on doing any videos this week until after the wet spam game, but I don't think you can let it go unspoken about. That don't even make sense. We can't even go without speaking about something as big as this happening in the football club. And I'm not lying. I am a little bit disappointed, but apprehensive as well. So fingers crossed that today we get an appointment put out, because the last thing I want is to go in the weekend with the caretaker manager and all that against the team that are desperate to beat you, especially as they're going through their own level of problems. So keep the faith, keep ourselves on the up, raise a glass to what we've had, and look forward to what we're going to get. And as always, people, up the Spurs.